Okay, let's start. So today we'll be spending some more time on the logical backup or data extraction utilities. So the logical backup or data extraction is being carried out at the lowest unit of that extraction is or the logical backup with that logical object. That is nothing but a table. Okay, so there are the logical backups are being done with the help of the two utilities. One, we can say that it's a classical utility which was available from Oracle from quite long time, and the other one is that is a utility that came from Oracle 10G onwards, that is known as the data pump utility. So the classical data movement utilities or logical backup utilities are export and import. Export is for the extraction of the data, and import is for inserting the data. Say for example, by using the export utility, you will export the data from a table, and by using the import utility, you will be importing that data to another table on the same import back to the same table, or go and import on the some other databases. But here the important point to be noted is that, so when you're taking the logical backups, I told you that the logical backups or the logical objects got existence only when you are able to access the database. When your database is shut down, or when you don't have the privilege to access the database, there is no question of logical objects are coming into picture, because without accessing the database, you will not be able to tell how many tables are there, how many views are there. We will not be able to tell. The same way, the logical backups got existent only when you are when you are accessing the database, either in the read-write mode or at least on the read-only mode. And then while importing the data to the database, definitely the database should be having the in the read-write mode, because you are inserting the data. So basically the export is nothing but it is a select statement. Basically it is selecting the data from the tables, while importing it is inserting the records to the tables. But when you are doing the export activity, the export is taking place in a the output, the export output we normally call, so the DBS will call normally as a dump file, DMP file. So that the output of the dump files will be in a binary format, which is not normally readable by the uh, normal text editor or something. You will not be able to read it. It's not in the readable format. So but using the VE editor and all, we can extract to a bit, but point to be noted, it's not that easily, or it's not in the ASCII format. It's a proprietary format,
Oracle
which
proprietary
can
format,
be,
right?
yeah, Oracle proprietary format, yeah, which can be used only by the import utility, which is by Oracle. So basically these goes together. And then what happened is that Oracle has the export utility, and Oracle was working with the export utility for quite some time. Then in Oracle 11G, Oracle came up with a technology where which the export utility has been modified a bit more, or it has been enhanced, and they came up with a utility called data pump or export data pump, as well as import data pump. As a with the similar to the first one, export data pump is going to do the extraction, and import data pump is going to do the import. So export DB is for the extraction, and the IMP DB is for the importing. That is the purpose. So when you are doing another difference between the export data pump and the normal export or import or whatever it is, see, export is a client side utility. For example, you are connecting to your server from your laptop, okay, and you execute the export utility. For example, say you are trying to do an export to something similar to that. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just giving export user equal to, okay. So here what happens that I'm running the export utility as system user with the password manager and to the database, which is resolved by the TNS entry test. Okay,
Yeah.
so that database may be on the same server, or it can be remotely on another server as well. In whatever the reason is that, whatever the case is that, it is going to connect it to a database via network. When you are giving @ symbol, it means that it is going to use the Oracle network and connect into the server. So the output file, whatever gets created, it will be getting created on the machine from where I invoked the export utility. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so I invoke the export utility from, say, Vaishud 11gr56. So the test database may be residing on Vaishud 11gr57 or some other machine. So the load as well as the file that is getting created will be on the machine from where the command was executed. So because of that, the export utility is known as a client-side utility.
Mm-hmm.
Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay. The same command, if I use something instead of this, I am using that expdp. Expdp stands for export data pump. Okay. So when I am using the expdp, what happens then? The file will get created on the server side. It will not get created on the client side. So due to that, we can call that the export data pump is a server side utility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the CPU as well as the memory utilization, everything is going to take place on the server side. But when you are running the export utility, the load is going to come on the client side, because it's just like a select statement. Of course, this load will be coming on the server side also, but the percentage of load, to a great percentage of the load will be coming on the client side also. And also what happens is that there is a lot of network traffic will be taking place when you are doing the
Export.
export command over the network, because the file or the data has to be generated. When you are giving select statement, it will be coming to the buffer cache of the database instance. From there, the data has to come to the client side machine. So obviously a lot of network activities will be taking place.
Mm.
Am I clear?
Yeah. So,
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Vimal, is there any restrictions like the fundamental difference, like when you're using export? I have used that previously. Like you can export tables or users or the old database itself, right? Like, do we have the
Yes.
same things here too, like export data pump?
Yes. All the options, whatever we are that's what I'm telling you. You can see that export. You can consider the export data pump as a enhanced export utility.
Okay.
Okay, so whatever the export was giving, all the features export data pump is giving. Apart from that, certain additional features which I discussed now.
Mm-mm.
And another option is that, say, assume that you have a database of 200 GB of size,
Yeah.
or a bigger database. So when you are going with the export command or export utility, what happens then? It goes as a single thread.
Yeah.
You have an option of, like, say, say for example, you are giving an option like a full database export. So it goes as a single thread.
Okay.
Or else what you have to do is that you have to divide that database into multiple schemas, and you have to run the export command for each schema separately.
Yeah.
For example, export then honor equal to tab 1, sorry, user 1, then honor second export command honor is equal to user 2, etc. That means you yourself are dividing that job into multiple units and you are executing.
Yeah.
Okay, but export data pump coming with an option called parallelism, where in which the job will be, you are telling that parallelism equal to 5. So what happens that Oracle will divide that job into 5 units, and then give it to 5 different slave process, or also known as the worker process.
Okay. So basically, it will
Okay,
create
so
multiple processes internally,
yeah,
right?
it will create a multiple process internally based on the number of channels what you are or
Oh,
number of parallelism we are defining.
okay.
Okay, so these are the major differences of the export and export data pump. So first we will be giving the concentration on the export data pump, sorry, export DB. I mean normal classical export, and then we will come to the export data pump. Okay, any questions from the other guys?
Uh,
Hari, Sharada?
this is
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
BCP, right? BCP type of
yeah. It is like it
BCP
is
in
like a BCP.
Sybase, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you invoke the export utility? Is that just from the command prompt you just press the exp key?
exp.
Okay, but before that, let me check the database up again. Okay. Exp. So I invoke the export utility by giving the exp. Okay. It is asking username, means as what user you are going to do the export. It doesn't mean that the user it is not the schema of what you wanted to export. It is the user as which you wanted to connect to the database and to take the export. Is that clear?
Yeah, most probably sys privileged user will be here, right?
Yeah, sys privilege or system privilege or who are having the full database select privilege. I think okay. I'll give slash SSP. I don't know.
Operator privilege also can do that, right, Vimal?
Yeah, that's what I showed. That's what I showed as slash SSDB. So I'm connecting as operating system authentication. You can give a super user privilege, or you can give it. I mean, super user privilege, or the user who has the privilege to select the table. It doesn't mean that you need to be super user everywhere. Suppose if you wanted to select, take the export of some other schema, you need to have the select any data or select any table privilege, so that you have the selective privilege on the other users tables.
Yeah.
So who are having the select any data privilege can do the export. Otherwise, the normal user can do the export of his own data. You got me? A normal user you have created, so that user can do the export of his own data.
Okay.
Fine. Now I connect to the database, and it is asking that array fetch buffer size, which means when you are buffer is a is a memory configuration for the export. So it is asking that how much you wanted to give the buffer. You can either leave the default value, or if you are having a lot of data to be exporting, you can give a higher value. It is the amount of data which is read from the database at a single shot. I'm leaving with that value. Okay, now it's asking you that what is the name of the dump file, means the export file what you are going to create it. For the time being, I'm just giving it a exp.dat, so it is going to create on the directory from where I have executed the command.
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise I have to give the complete path if I wanted to keep it on, say, on my backup directory. So I'll give slash backup slash exp.dmd. Okay. Now it's asking that what are the options that you, what the type of backup that you want. Do you want to take for the entire database, or for the users, or for a certain tables? Okay, so I'll give here as two. That is, I wanted to take the all the objects of a particular user. So it is asking that do you want to export the grants? Then do you want to export the privileges that is available for that user? Okay. Do you want to export the data, table data? Question is that do you want to export the table data or only the structure of the tables? The default, you can see that the default answer is coming there. So if I press the enter, it will take the default value. And compress the extents. Compress the extents means what happens then, say when your table normally growing up, it would have been grown up to different size actually. Like say it would have been initially, it would have been created with a 5 MB, then it would have been gone to 10 MB, like that. So these the sizes at which the table space is extending is known as an extent. So in a table you may be having 3 to 4 extents will be there, or maybe more than that. So do you wanted to create a table with the sum of all the extents, or you wanted to create as the normal? Okay, say for a table is having 5 extents. Now you have the options that to create a table with the 5 extents, or So 5 into 5, 25 MB is the total size. So you wanted to create a table of 25 MB as an initial size, or else you want to create a table with the 5 MB, and as an import is going on, you want to extend or not. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so here if I am giving complex extents, what happens is, what is the size of the table in the source? With that size, the table will get created immediately, and then the data will get inserted. Or that means that much space will be taken from the database even without inserting any records. Okay, now it's asking that what is the user to be exported? Return to quit means you enter the user. If you're quitting, then it will not be it will that option will get terminated there. So for example, I am giving Vaishit. Okay, now do you want if I have to export some other user, I can give, otherwise I give an enter command and it will go to the next option. So you can see that exporting all the tables and other corresponding objects, indexes, etc. If anything is then all the objects will get exported for that user. Okay, so here you can see that the end message is then exporter terminated successfully with warnings. So if you wanted to make sure that your export was successful, then you should be getting the message here, exporter completed successfully. There must be some warnings are there. You should see what are the warnings are available here. In this particular here you can see that it got a warning that export 00091 exporting questionable statistics, which means this particular tables statistics is a in collection of the it is an information collected about the data inside the table. I'll be coming to that what is the statistics and the use advantage of statistics in the later classes, but statistics is used for the better performance of the query. So here what happens is the status is not to be up to date. So that's why Oracle has given a warning that there is a small warning is there. So once export is completed, you must go through the warnings and see whether anything critical or anything serious is there. Otherwise, exported terminated successfully is a message that you have completed your export successfully.
Vimal, regarding this statistics, like
Hmm.
generally we'll be having a database maintenance task, like update the statistics and rebuild index, all those. Okay, that is a periodical. So are you referring the same thing, statistics you are referring here in Oracle too?
Yes, yes.
Oh, it will have the information about the data opacity, like where that particular data is located on a disk, all those information, right?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Like SQL Server, I thought only SQL Server has that. Okay, so even in Oracle, do we need to have that those kind of maintenance tasks created, or it's automatically maintained internally?
Say in the case of Oracle, what happened? The stats collections by default taking place.
Ah,
There is a by default the stats collection will be taking place. Or also you can even create a maintenance job or scheduled jobs in Oracle also.
yeah.
Suppose
When I created a database here, I saw an option like, do you want to enable the automatic maintenance task?
yeah
There was a question. Is that will take care of these
yeah
update statistics?
yeah yeah. When you're maintaining the automatic stats, then it will go for not only the stats collection but some other maintenance task. Even if you wanted to enable the backups, you can enable.
Yeah,
Like that, certain maintenance tasks you can enable.
yeah. Okay, got it. Mm.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions?
Basically, the statistics will be used by optimizer to identify, the quick path to reach the data. Mm. Sounds
Okay,
good.
fine. So no other questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So now say um, this is the way that you are now whatever the export that you took is an interactive export, which means we were asking the questions to the data. I mean the export utility was asking the questions to us and we were answering it. So this is not the interactive mode. But this interactive mode may not be useful for or may not be handy for every time for us, because suppose if you wanted to schedule some jobs and run the backup every day, Say you want to take the backup every day on a periodic on a particular day. So at that time, interactive mode will not be a good idea, because you have to be available in front of the system to answer those questions, right? So what are the other options? That you can run the export utility non-interactive mode. That's from the command line. Okay. So how do we do is that we have to create something called a parameter file, or it's also known as a par file. So in the par file, we'll be giving the values of the parameters which will be prompted by the export utility,
Okay.
and then we'll call that file. Is that clear? Okay. So what are the parameters which export utility will be looking for? That I can just issue the command exp help equal to y. Okay. So these are the parameters which can be used for the export utility. For example, user ID, I think we are clear. Buffer, we are clear. Dump, compress, grants. Then indexes, export index. Do you want to export the indexes along with the table import? If you don't want, you can give no, or else it will be y. Direct path. Direct path means it is an option where in which the data will be read directly onto the memory. It will be bypassing the memory when you are doing an export. What happens is that normally the data will be coming to the memory, and from the memory it will be returned to the data file. So obviously there will be some delay will be there. If you wanted to avoid that delay, then you can have the data directly returned to the data file, so your dump file, instead of going through memory and then coming to the data file. So there means the performance will be much faster. So if you wanted to go that way, you can give direct path equal to yes. So it will be directly writing to the dump file instead of going by the path of going to memory and from the memory to the file.
Okay.
Okay, and then log file of the screen output. Now when you execute the export, you have seen that the outputs are coming to the screen. Suppose if you don't want to have, say when you are running it on a periodically using a scheduler or using a cron. In the Unix, the scheduler is known as a cron. So if you are scheduling the jobs with the help of a cron, then the screen output will not be helpful, right? Because you will not be available at that time, or that dependency you want to avoid. So what I can do is that you can create, or you can redirect the screen output to a log file. So log equal to the path of the log file. Then export the data rows. Which means do you wanted to export the data along with the table structure? Okay, and then another important is that full export entire file, means we want to export the entire database, or owner list of the owner username. So if you have multiple schemas are there, we will be giving owner equal to user1 comma user2, or how many users do you want to export, you can comma separate it and specify them. Tables, list of the tables names, when which you will be giving the schema name dot table name comma separated for the different tables. Then yeah, another important parameter is that incremental type, incremental export type. For example, suppose you took a backup today, okay, and you wanted to take the backup tomorrow only for the changes that happened from yesterday to today. You got me? Say it is like the incremental, right? So incremental is from the previous one.
Yeah.
So yesterday I had a full backup, and today when I am taking the backup, I do have the two options. One is that I can take a full backup again, or I can take an incremental backup. So when I'm taking an incremental backup, the changes that's happened from the previous full backup only will be taken.
Yeah.
But the downside of that one is that tomorrow I have to import the data. Then I need to have the full backup as well as the incremental backup. You got me?
Yeah.
Okay, then record track incremental export. That will be like, if you like to keep a track of the incremental records, record parameter has to be enabled. Then triggers, if you wanted to export triggers, that is you can specify. So basically, wherever the default y is coming, you need not give the answer for them, because by default, unless you wanted to change it. So if you wanted to get the constraint exported, then you need not give anything, because constraint is by default, it will be part of the export. But if you don't want the constraint to be exported, then you have to give constraint equal to no.
Okay.
Okay. Then there are certain other important things are there. Object consistent. Object consistent means when you are starting the export, then from that point of time, you wanted to set that particular table on the read-only mode. For example, you are going to take a particular table, you are going to take the export of particular table. So you don't want any data that is coming on the export from that point of time. So what happens that if you want, you can maintain that or convert that table to a read-only table. That normally nobody will be doing it. It will be set to n only. And then if you wanted to get the display of the progress every 100 records, what are the number of records you want to get a output, progress and output. So if you give that feedback equal to 100, what happens after every 100 records imported, a dot will be appearing on your screen. You got me?
Yeah.
As and when the export is progressing, you can see that how many records are getting exported, and you can see that the export is moving actually. And then file size. File size, maximum size of each dump file. So what happens that if you have a size constraint on your location, on your server, say for example you cannot copy the files more than 2 GB. In that case, you can specify that file size equal to say 2 GB. What happens that even though the size of the database is more than 2 GB, but what happens that the dump files will not be a single huge file. Instead of, it will be a multiple files of 2 GB each. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now other things are there, a lot of other things are there to export, but unless I complete the rest of the course, these things will be somewhat difficult for you guys. So these are the important things that we will be looking for an export utility. Any questions here?
Yeah. Generally, we'll be invoking this utility in a shell script, right? Like we'll be using exp to invoke, and
Yeah.
then we need to give that parameter file name. That's what
Yes.
I'm hoping. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. It's just like any other ETL process. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Anybody else got any questions?
Yes, Vimal. I don't think you have specified the path way to export it. So, do we have to mention the path as well?
Yeah, here when you are specifying the file, right? So file is that output file name. Normally it comes as exp.dat.dmb. But if you wanted to specify a particular path, say for example, you wanted to take the backup to say slash data slash file name. So you'll be telling that file equal to slash data slash exp.data1.dmb. So the file will be created there.
Okay.
Is that your question?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also here one more parameter is that par file. Par file is a parameter file name.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. So what I'll do that I'll just create a file called exp.par. Okay. There I'll give user equal to /s sysdba full equal to, yes, I'm going to take a full database backup. Okay. And log equal to full dot log. Okay. And what else I want to yeah, file equal to full dot dmb. So I'm going to take the full database backup, and my expectation that the log file will be created on in a file called full dot log, and my dump file will be on the full dot dump, and then I'm going to run this export as the super user privilege. Save this file. Okay, it is user id exp.par. Okay, now I'll run exp par file equal to exp.par.
Okay.
Okay, it showed me another that exp dot, yeah, multiple values are not supported for the user id. Here it would not have taken that user id equal to /ssd. So probably what I'll do is that let's see. No, it took. You get that it is going with the about to export the entire database.
Mm. Yeah.
Say, okay, when you're taking the full database, you can see that it is first taking the definition of the table spaces, and then user definitions, and then roles, then links, like that. All the basic structure of the database will be exported first. Then it comes to the individual users, like your user, and then associated objects of that user, and the second user, and other. So that is this got significance while you are importing as well. While importing, it is going to do the reverse here. First it will be creating all the table spaces,
Yeah.
then it will going to create all the users, then granting the roles, so that order will be coming back.
Vimal, from this full dump,
Hmm.
can we extract any particular schema, user schema, and import? No, right?
Yes, it's possible.
It's possible.
At the time, what you have to do for import also, you have to specify username or which has to be important. So at that time, you will give that import file equal to the source of the import file equal to the full backup whatever you have taken.
That
Okay, and then
exp.dmp, right?
exp.dmp,
Yeah.
and then you will be going ahead with the what is that a particular schema which you want to import.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'll do then, I'll give you a small